One thing we know about you is that you like game trailers. And this time in the bonus round, we're taking you behind the scenes to find out how trailers like Call of Duty 4 and Assassin's Creed are made. Is there ever a reason to have computer-generated imagery in a trailer instead of real gameplay?
If the promise is best delivered in CG, or some of the early Halo 3 stuff was live action, however the promise is best delivered.
And how have game trailers changed over the past 5 years?
You'd see some random gameplay set to some techno music and they'd slap that up there at E3, and that would be your game.
Find out right now in the show that's approved for all audiences, the bonus round. Hey everybody, welcome to the bonus round. I'm Jeff Keighley, and in the bonus round we have the biggest names in the video game industry talk about the issues that matter most. And this time in the bonus round, we're talking about video game trailers. That's right, this site is all about trailers. There have been a lot of great trailers over the past couple of years, and joining me this time, we have some of the people responsible for those trailers. Joining me first is Tabitha Hayes, who's the Senior Global Brand Manager for the Call of Duty business at Activision. Tabitha, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good to see you. And we have Rob Troy, who's the Executive Creative Director for the Ant Farm that works on a lot of big video game campaigns, including those great Call of Duty trailers we saw last year.
Thanks.
And finally, we have Jim Botko, who's the Marketing Director and Creative Producer at Hammer Creative, a company that also does some pretty great trailers, including Assassin's Creed last year, The Simpsons, many more to come, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So everyone on this site loves watching video game trailers and thinks they're an incredibly important part of the business. Tabitha, tell us a bit about how the creation of video game trailers, how has it changed over the past couple of years?
Oh boy. Well, thankfully I've worked with a great agency, so I think we've always been ahead of the curve in terms of delivering emotion, which I think is really critical. Last year, to give an example, we started thinking about how can we use them to be more tactical and deliver information. So for example, for Call of Duty 4, the perk system, which is totally huge and amazing, using the trailer to communicate to consumers what the perks meant, right? And so I think we've seen an evolution, first from an emotive standpoint, as well as trying to communicate some maybe complex or new features, something cool, better, and different for gamers. So.
Well, I mean, the Call of Duty trailers last year, the reveal trailer and the E3 trailers, I think, some of the highest rated trailers on game trailers, millions of downloads. Rob, has the trailers that we've seen for games, I think they've really evolved over the past, 5, 10 years. I think, 10 years ago it was literally a bunch of game footage set to sort of a thrashing rock track.
Techno music,
and
sure.
that way, and a title card at the end, and that was what a trailer was. I mean, how is that true? I mean, is that trailers have evolved to a more emotional state?
Oh yeah, I mean, and I honestly, I think that's exactly what it was. Roughly 10 years ago or so, when we got involved in it, that was what was going on. You'd see some random gameplay set to some techno music, and they'd slap that up there at E3, and that would be your game. Like that's how they showed it off. And over time, and it took some while to convince people, but I think over time, just by doing some trailers, there were things early on that were done. We were talking about people who've been on here before, like Pete Wannett and stuff. We worked with him on a trailer for The Thing, right, that was completely based on the actual story of the game itself. And you look at, like, I think in '99 or 2000, it was Metal Gear Solid did their 10-minute story trailer, which went
Metal Gear 2,
epic.
which was an amazing,
yeah, and it went on and on and on. But it was, again, this was the sort of the beginning of it, where you started seeing people actually taking the game seriously from a storytelling standpoint and saying, you know what, we're going to go out there, we're actually going to tell a story about what this game is. And it became more engrossing, and as more games did it, you saw the proliferation just continue and continue and continue.
I think also the quality of games too, right? So we're able to tell a better story than we've ever been able to. And
that's the biggest difference to me is like you have games that have stories in them that have much more elaborate stories than like a Donkey Kong or some of those old games that just didn't have any story. So when you look at games like, we worked on the Prince of Persia game or the Call of Duty game or Halo or BioShock. I mean, these have great stories in them with great characters and not quite movie quality, but very high level of characters in them. That you can cut a 2-3 minute trailer that has a story to it and has a beginning, a middle, and end, as opposed to just here's some gameplay, blah 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 blah. With pixels, you can barely tell it's a car or a football player or a donkey. Right. And you just got to put it out there. That's all you can do. We're still doing music video trailers. I mean, we still do some.
So what I ask you about is, Rob and Jim, your companies obviously do a lot of movie trailers, television trailers. What was the appeal of getting into the game space? Was it that obviously, it was an emerging form of entertainment, but was it really a belief that you could tell great stories using these games?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, it was a good business for us because it was a side business of what we're doing in the movie business, just like
Right.
you guys in Ant Farm. And you started doing it before Ant Farm, I believe. You started
We had
your own
our
company.
own company, which was actually Absent,
Yeah.
that then became part of
Part of
Ant
it.
Farm over time.
But so, you know, the tools in the movie business are very similar to the game business. There's some specialty differences like game capture and things like
Right.
that are very specifically different to the game business, which is kind of more fun for us, frankly, because
Yeah.
we could actually catch the footage. We got to make the game. We got to make the movie in a way. And in the movie business, we get the movie, we get the 2-hour movie, and it's done, and you kind of got to cut that up in a million different ways.
Right.
A gameplay like a Call of Duty game or Assassin's Creed, you can cut it up 1,000 different ways.
And it's also a 40-minute or 40-hour investment
Yeah.
by the consumer, right? So there's that just connections that you can create so much more intensely than you can with a movie trailer, in my opinion.